Good evening, everyone. This is Michael, and I am substituting for Tuya here in this Ask broadcast. We are going to be working on triangles tonight, and for those of you who are members of the Blue Rose Sisterhood, you know that we have an ongoing broadcast that starts in another 2 hours or so. So I'm just trying to, get everything adjusted here. I know Tuya is better at this than I am, but here I am, and going to lead us through this the best we can do. So this is a key exercise in the work, in the esoteric work offered to us. It's a type of work which is very close to Master DK's heart, as he says. It's a kind of second ray, third ray work, and I think those take in his rays particularly. It's a work which he says, and I guess I never get tired of repeating this, it's a work which must go on. So it has the potential to transform squares into triangles. Master DK is fond of discussing, or mentioning anyway, a time when he was a student and his master, probably Master KH, probably Pythagoras, taught him how to esoterically bisect the square into two triangles. We know that the souls of human beings are called triangles, and we have to create such an etheric connectedness, especially in the systemic ethers of the systemic physical plane, that the soul energy really can get through. That's the key. The non-sacred planets have squares in the etheric body, and Earth probably still has quite a number of squares, but it's midway between being sacred and non-sacred. Interiorly, the Earth is said to be sacred. Excuse me. However, I suspect that the sacred planets like, Venus, Mercury, Vulcan, and so forth, have triangles prominent in their etheric vehicle. And we have to also remember that there are, in a way, etheric sections of every plane. Even the astral plane, even the mental plane, and beyond, the first four subplanes are etheric. So maybe this triangular arrangement extends all the way to those levels as well. And the sun, interestingly enough, has for its etheric structure a pattern of interlocking circles. So that's the future for us, but first we have to move from the square to the triangle, and then later, we can think about the circular arrangement when our planetary logos is far more than it is right now. Anyway, a very important exercise that we do daily. Some of us have one or two triangles, maybe some of us have 50. The point is, every time we think of our triangles, little networks, we are increasing the possibility of bringing the soul energy into the planet. And that's what we really want to do, so that we can one day be a sacred planet. We're on our way, and that's what we want to do. But this work is very practical in a way. Master DK will give us some advice in a minute. So let's just breathe in the white light. through the imagination, and inaudibly a few times we sound the Om. Different kinds of light are used, representing the soul, sometimes white, sometimes golden, sometimes light orange, but we breathe in the white light at first. And Master DK gave us some advice here. He said, and excuse me that I cannot read the Finnish. Finnish people will probably be happy that I'm not doing it. Anyway, it's written there for you to see if you wish to see it. I would ask you for a few minutes each morning prior to doing the group meditation, which he always considered the most important really, to rest quietly back in your chair or bed and, closing your eyes, link up with your soul and with me, your friend. Hierarchy of friendship in the truest sense. You will thus create a triangle of light between your soul, your head center, and myself. Fix and hold this triangle firmly in your consciousness through the power of the creative imagination. And this image gives us an idea here. It's not just the outline of a triangle. It's a solid triangle, light orange, yellowish gold in color. The base of the triangle is on the mental plane, where the Master DK works, and the lower point, or apex, touches the top of your head, and the representation of the solar angel is there too, on the mental plane. So visualize that. And we see then pouring down via the triangle a stream of light, this time golden in color, not white. It's more light orange than white. So we visualize that. And we see this color flooding the whole body. It's permeating every part of our physical equipment. Imaginatively, we see this light doing that. And he advises us, let this light do its work without your having any definite ideas as to what should be accomplished. And he says the Rest of the activity is in my hands, he says, and you can safely leave it to me. It's a powerful exercise. He says this exercise will aid you in handling your life problem and your service until such time as you enter into that light wherein consciousness awakens free from the bonds of flesh. The blessing of your co-disciples is upon you, and yours is upon them. Now, we move on to the next section. We've reached a poised state, and we hold the consciousness steady in the mind, not in the head. And we contact the spiritual triplicity. You know, it's the soul, or even the spiritual triad, or even the monad. They're all triplicities. We contact the spiritual triplicity, which is that which hovers over the square and radiates the energy of light into the waiting field of active thought. This is the mind held steady in the light. The soul is a very real factor, and it has to be more than just words. It has to be a living experience for us. And when we do our triangles, it has to really be present, passing through the triangles. Now, next, we focus on our own triangle or triangles. And we don't give a lot of time here, but you know, when you're doing it yourself, you may take more time. But at the moment, do your best, and we call on our triangle members by name and with love. Love and light, and eventually the energy of the will to good, eventually. But right now, love and light, and we'll keep about 3 minutes of silence as we sound the names silently or aloud. is love and goodwill flowing through the members of our little groups, Little Triangles group, part of the larger network. And we try to feel how this energy can change the etheric body of our planet on all its different levels into the pattern of triangles from a pattern of squares. It's love and spiritual light passing through the Triangles network. The light is aiding the great demonstration of light, which eventually our planet will show forth. That's its destiny. And the network becomes more and more living as we in our own little way contact our Triangles members. So the great big network on all the continents, I often visualize it that way, through the various continents, and then the little network for which I and my associates are responsible, and same for you. We try to realize that this whole network of triangles really is under the eye of the great Shambhalic triangle, the three Buddhas of activity in Shambhala. We have to remember that they were planetary logoi of the intelligence aspect, largely, in a previous solar system. Great beings. And should there be any emergency within humanity or upon the planet which, let's say, looks like it will get out of control, the Buddhas of activity can energize the Triangles network for protective purposes. Our free will is left intact, but they also have their destiny. So ponder on what that can mean, that we do emergency work, but just imagine on their high level what the emergency work could be if necessary. So we have to strengthen that network so that if they ever have to work in this way, and these are dangerous times, they have a strong network through which to work. We attempt to recognize this living connection with our triangles, with the network of global triangles, and with the three Buddhas of activity. We can be vitally, vibrantly a part of this network, and every little bit does help. Otherwise, Master DK would not have said, this work must go on. And of course, when we visualize our triangles, it is the sounding of the great invocation as we hold the visualization, which is so important. So we'll hear the sounding now of the great invocation. We see the global network of triangles covering the entire planet. We try to feel that this is so. It's a great living spiritual organism, substanding potentially at least all world affairs with the energy of the soul. It's a vital, growing reality, and it can break through and break up the outer cleavages, and by the very force of its own interior life eventually externalize itself. And we imagine, we visualize at least 100,000 living triangles functioning within the square-like etheric body of Earth, transmitting that vehicle, that etheric vehicle, into a triangular structure, so that the Earth can indeed become a sacred planet, as is destined. So, you sound the Om 3 times. We sustain the circulation of light and love flowing through our triangles and visualize it doing so, doing its work with these great spiritual entities behind it, doing its work to move us on our globe, in our chain, in our larger planetary scheme towards sacredness. Okay, friends, thank you for your participation, and we'll continue this week. Whether Tuya will be back for various of these, or whether I'll be substituting, we'll just see here. But we're happy to reach you and work with you from the Temple of Silence here in Finland. And when before long we'll be up in the Little Bear Meditation Center north of the Arctic Circle, and hopefully working with you as that goes on.